What up, dudes? How's it going?
Hey, man.
Yo. Whoa, we got a new voice in here.
Yeah,
we got a new voice. Who is this guy? Who is he?
Who is this man?
This man.
Introduce yourself,
Well,
man.
What's your name?
I am man, if you have gotten that already. But my name is Logan, and you can call me Anion because his name's Logan as well.
We got
little
confusion.
Yeah, but I kind of have some connections with all of these guys. Daniel, I don't even know how I kind of met him. It's kind of just happened.
Dude, we were talking about the other day. I can't remember,
Yeah.
but it happened and it's dope.
It did. Yeah, it is dope. And then Noah, I knew him when we were wee lads.
Way back.
Yeah.
Your house was actually the first house I stayed the night at.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
It was
That's
like one of your birthday parties.
Dude.
That
Made
is
like
crazy.
forts of your couches. It's pretty
Yeah, we literally did that the other day with the twins.
dope. Yo, let's
Yeah.
go.
So that's Noah, and then Logan, 8th grade, we went to the same school together. So, pretty sweet. But I'm Logan, and I just come from Montana. Went to a school out there called Montana Wilderness School of the Bible.
Say
If
that
you
10
love,
times fast.
try it. If you love theology, love the Lord, and want to build your life's foundation on Christ, go there. It's super stoked and awesome. It's sweet.
Nice.
So
Sweet.
yeah, that's me.
Dude.
Let's
Dope.
go. We totally didn't even introduce this podcast. I am sorry. Welcome to the first episode?
Second.
Second episode of Steepin' the Stoke, where we
Mm.
extract the goods from the grinds. Nice. I was in sync, dude. Yeah. Very good. All right. Well, what have you guys been up to lately? What have you guys been doing? I finished up school, so that's pretty nice.
Nice.
Been working. I've been
Where-
been watching
Where are you working at, Logan?
Ferrante's, cooking up the pizza.
Dude.
Pizza and
Just
pasta.
have to-
That's where we got that good pizza from for
Heck
dinner.
yeah.
So I've been working. I've been watching this new show, Community. Nice. Pretty into it,
Dude, my entire family is watching Community right now. It is so hilarious. It is so
Pretty
good.
It's
Great
a
show.
good show. Like, it has the good things I love from like The Office, or just like the dry humor, but it's more personal. I think it's fun.
Yeah, I just like seeing Donald Glover in it, like super young, and it's just so funny to watch him as like an actor, just be a guy in there.
So true. So true.
What a baller.
Yeah.
Oh, the show. Had you guys seen the show The Outer Banks?
Yeah.
You saw it?
Yeah.
Dude, I haven't. I've had so many people tell me to watch it 'cause it's so good, but I have not. Anion, have you seen it?
I don't watch shows ever.
Oh,
They don't have service out in
Oh.
Montana.
No, they really
Bummer.
don't.
It's illegal.
Nice. Well, that show, I saw it like a few months ago, and it was pretty tight. I thought it was fun.
Yeah,
it
it's
was
pretty
like
sick.
it's just a bunch of like teenagers living life, searching after a treasure. They're kind of like hippies, kind of like like surf bums, on the East Coast, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Dude, that's kind of sort of like us just on the East Coast. Like we just like tromp all over the wilderness, and except we're not on the on the high seas. We're in the forest and on the
Instead of-
rivers and the lakes.
Instead of shredding
kinda
it,
dope.
instead of shredding
Yeah.
on the waves, we shred it down the mountains of Powell.
Dude,
The Mountains
Yeah.
of Pow.
The Narnar.
The Narnar.
Yeah. Hey, so do they live in vans?
Yeah.
Do they actually?
Well, they travel around in this van. And it's pretty tight.
It's like
That's
the
so sweet.
classic like Volkswagen hippie van that is the
Oh.
best.
Looks like a banana.
Is it converted? Like, is there?
Yeah, there's
can
like
you live
a.
in it?
I don't
I don't know
if
if they
it's
can live
totally
in it. I think it had
converted.
like just seats and benches. I don't know if they actually had it converted.
It's pretty
to that.
beat up, but they all hang around in it and like travel around and
Hmm.
search for after this treasure in it.
Yeah, that van life.
Yeah. But it came to mind because I saw a super insane headline that we should totally dive into today. I'm sure most of our listeners have heard or maybe not heard about Forrest Fenn's treasure, but that was found last week. I think, was it June 6th that it was found?
Yeah, I think it wasn't. So it wasn't this Friday that just happened, but it was the Friday before. It was like that Friday or Saturday. So
Okay.
yeah, but it was super recent, and like
Yeah.
this is like a 10-year thing. I was reading up on it before, and this guy Forrest Fenn, he was in the Air Force for during one of the wars in the 70s and 80s. He flew like over 300 missions in in a year. He retired from the Air Force and then went into like the art business, and after being in that business for a few years, was actually diagnosed with a terminal illness, and
It was
so-
cancer.
yeah, it
It's
was
like
a
terminal cancer.
Yeah, and so he's like, well, I want to kind of do something to have a legacy. So he put this treasure out in the middle of the wilderness of the Rocky Mountains for someone to find. And I don't actually know the details of like how he led people to it, but yeah, what is that?
Yeah, so he like wrote about a book, and then he published a poem with it with clues
Okay.
that led to the treasure. So like they had to read the poem and deduct from the poem where they think the treasure could be.
Yeah, and I have the poem right here.
Dude,
let me
what
read
a-
it.
read it
out
for
for
us.
us.
Winkadink.
Just
just
so
had it.
happened to have
Dude,
it.
wow.
It's
Wow.
actually my screensaver because I've been searching for it for like 10 years.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
But
Wow.
Ever since I was 11.
Oh, we
You're not
little
21,
laddie.
dude.
Oh, I'm not 21.
You said
Shoot.
10 years.
When I was 9.
When you're 9.
Um,
Okay. I was like, there's no way.
Okay,
right,
here it is.
read
And
it.
I'm going to read it with an English accent because it sounds cooler.
Dude,
As I've gone alone in there. That's not an English accent. That's like
I thought it
more
sounded
Australian.
okay. No, you're good. Keep going.
Can I have a spot of tea? As I have gone alone in there with my treasures bold, I can keep my secret where and hint of riches new and old. Begin it where warm waters halt and take it to the canyon down. Not far, but far too far to walk. Put in below the home of Brown. From there, it's no place for the meek. The end is ever dragging nigh. There'll be no paddle up your creek. Fust? What does that mean?
I'm pretty sure it's
First.
It's literally F-U-S-T.
First.
Fust. Fust heavy loads and water high. If you've been wise and found the blaze, look quickly down your quest to cease. But tarry scant with marvel gaze. Fust. It says fust again. Somebody look up fust.
Must be first.
I got you.
It must be
It's
first.
literally fust.
That is a bummer.
Okay. Fust. Take the chest and go in peace. So why is it that I must go and leave my trove for all to seek? The answer I already know. I've done it tired, and now I'm weak. So bear me all and listen good. Your effort will be worth the cold. If you are brave and in the wood, I give you title to the gold.
Deep.
I have shivers.
Very,
Thank you,
very
man.
deep poem.
I could listen to someone read that to rock me to sleep.
Oh, it's not
Thank you.
fust, it's just.
Oh, just.
It was just in like cool cursive, so
I was like,
Oh,
I looked
bro,
up.
that makes sense.
I looked up fust, and the definition was a strong, musty smell. I'm like,
Ah.
how does this go with
I
this?
bet you could
this
construe
poem.
it some way.
Smell the strong, musty smell, and there my treasure lies.
yeah.
I got a knobbed stick or like a cudgel or club as an alternate definition for the word fust.
So, fust, viewers,
Fust thinks
listeners,
fust.
think fust is either moldy smell or something to beat someone with.
Anyways, that is quite the poem. It's so obviously someone figured out from that and from the clues in the book where the treasure was. And like, I mean,
Smart cookie.
that's crazy. I mean, over 10 years, how many people have searched for this? I heard people have quit their jobs. I heard people have died in search
Yeah.
of this thing. Like,
Yeah.
what is this? Like, why? That's just crazy to me. Like, what is that?
So
Mm.
isn't it valued around $1 to $2 million worth of like gold
I
and
think it
jewels
was-
and coins?
I see.
2 million.
2 million.
2
yeah.
million, really? Okay.
Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
So it's,
Yeah,
it's
and
a
it's-
lot of money.
Dude.
It's a chest. So they
That's-
released the chest, and it's a chest full of ancient like doubloons and gold and crazy just gems and really cool historical things. It's not just like cash that's in this thing. It's really
It's like legit
it's
treasure.
Treasure. Yeah.
Talk about a bag. Acquire the bag, bro. Dang.
Yeah, dog.
Big.
But yeah, no, it's crazy. Like 5 people died trying to find it. There was a guy that repelled from the Grand Canyon, like the viewing center, and they had to like helicopter him out.
Dude, I looked that story up, and I don't know who's gonna listen to this in the future, but the guy's name was David Christensen, and that's actually the name of one of our best friend's dads, and so I just got a real kick out of that. So, yeah. Anyways,
Maybe it
What
was
is he,
his
what is
dad.
he
To whom
doing?
it
Maybe it was him.
to whom it may concern, the man's name was Dave Christensen, and maybe I'm gonna get sued for that in the future, but it's okay. It was on the web, so actually no, I can't. Never mind.
It's worth it.
Nice. Yeah. I kind of wanted to go look for it. Like, I'll be honest. I really wanted to just go, especially with coronavirus. I just wanted to straight up and go look.
Yeah, so my grandparents texted me because this was kind of something close to my heart that I wanted to do. So I was out at school in Montana, and I would go to Bozeman, and I visited with this pastor guy, and it was super. He thought he had it cracked.
Oh, really?
And, he was insane. Like, this guy was awesome,
Dude.
but he was insane. And so he, so I was like totally over at when I get done with school, but then Corona hit, so I couldn't do this. But when I got done with school, I was going to go look for it for a week.
Oh, sick.
And I was talking with Logan and Kobe and all those buds about going to look for it, and we were all super stoked about it. But we didn't. But my grandparents texted me when it was found, and they were like, "Dude, sorry, bud." And I was like, "What?" And they're like, "The treasure's been found." I literally screamed, and my girlfriend was in the car, and I've never seen her look more terrified. I was like,
screaming
I felt so
Loganian.
bad. I felt so bad because it was.
Can you give us a
But
little sample of that right now? A little sample.
Ah!
Oh yeah. Oh, he actually did it, dude. That was dope.
Oh
my.
Sorry about the ears. I
Oh,
kinda
gosh.
hurt myself.
Well, recovery time
That
for
was-
you listeners.
That was dope.
I can't believe I just did that.
That was terrible.
But yeah, no. So like, going to find it would be pretty epic. Like, that's kind of what Fenn's intention was, because he hit it on the basis that he was going to die. So he's like, all right, just screw this. I'm gonna hide $2 million as my legacy. But he ended up living, so he totally could have gone back. But he's like, no, I'm just going to keep it hidden because it's going to encourage people. I want people to go outdoors and see the wonders of the world and to, like, just enjoy being outside looking for this. So he just kept it hidden.
It got a ton of people outside. There's been so many people that have been looking for it. It's crazy. I was in Glacier over the summer in one of the ranger stations. We were trying to get a backcountry permit.
Oh, nice,
and, they actually had the poem and the map that the poem is a part of.
Oh, really? That's sick.
They had it like right up there along with their like glacier, just like the park map or backcountry sites map. And I was like, do people actually come here and look for it? And they're like, oh, we have people coming in all the time looking for this.
Dang. Does that cause like a problem? Because like I know that there's like some out of bounds areas of glacier and stuff, right? Like, does that
not
like
technically? I don't think anyone has died looking for it in the park.
That's
but
good.
I know people have died other places looking for it.
Yeah.
So
And if you guys didn't know, Glacier is like Logan's favorite place.
it is
ever.
the best.
Our favorite saying is that Logan goes through his phones faster than he can bring up Glacier.
It's true.
That is a very accurate statement.
It's
I haven't
terrible.
ever heard that. I
Yeah.
really appreciate
He's on
that.
his, like,
Thank
what?
you for enlightening us with that, Noah.
Ninth phone?
I think it might be 10th.
Nice.
It's terrible.
Dude, let's go.
They're handy downs. I'm not
And you
I'm not
go
just
through
spending.
you go through other people's phones too, don't you?
Oh, dude, you're gonna bring up that, man. You're gonna bring up when I threw your phone at the dirt.
It was a rock.
I thought it was totally dirt,
No, it
dude.
was definitely
I thought I was like
rocks.
throwing it into like soft dust. And it was more of like
the
an
whole
underhand
phone
toss.
was wrecked.
I don't think you
Sorry.
get that from soft dust.
I
It's okay.
apologize.
It
This
was-
is past sins. Why do you have to bring this up?
Yeah, I
man?
probably shouldn't be
Jeez.
holding on to this. You brought it up the other day. That's what reminded me of it.
That is true.
All right, so
Dude, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So this same pastor guy that I was with, so he was a super crazy Forrest Fenn guy. He would go out into Yellowstone. That's where most people thought it was.
yeah, I
and
heard
he
that.
would be looking for it.
Do you do it
and,
often, or is he just like kind of like side hobby or whatever?
It was a side hobby.
Oh,
yeah.
sick.
But it kind of just he loved talking about it. So he would talk to everybody about it. But one time when he was out looking for it, it was the middle of winter. He was in the middle of nowhere in Yellowstone, and he came across some tracks that were this big. And
Well, how big is this big for our listeners?
Let's see, how much does that big look like?
Like
about-
a whole
like
like a foot.
Like a
and a
really
half.
large pickle. Like that big.
I think we can go with
Like,
that. I think
yeah?
yeah.
I think like cucumber, because typically pickles are like small, but you
That's
think
true.
like big cucumber, you can get a pretty big cucumber.
I think a squash is more accurate.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe a
Squash.
squash.
Okay, yeah,
Let's go with that.
squash.
Squash,
So there's a bunch of
A big,
squashes.
a big track.
Big
a big paw
Huge-
print.
the size of a big squash.
squash prints.
squash prints.
in the snow.
That Sasquatch.
Sasquatch prints.
Oh,
So that's what he
oh.
claims it was. He says he found Sasquatch prints, and then he went into another 2-hour explanation of why Sasquatch is real. And so that fascinated me, and I became a believer. So what do you guys? Are you guys believers?
Believing in the Squatch?
Yeah.
Well, I saw that super cool video. I mean, totally could be a person. I don't know.
The
I have no reason to
Snoqualmie
say if
Pass.
it's not or is or isn't.
No.
It's just kind of silly. It's
No,
just
no,
fun
no.
to think about.
Totally.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any weight on our day-to-day lives. But I think that video of the creature walking across the animal overpass near Snoqualmie Pass in Washington, that was pretty cool. And that was around like January, I think, that they released that. And they're like, something spotted. We don't know what it is. Could be Sasquatch. So
Yeah, it looked
know,
vaguely Sasquatches, but it also looked vaguely like a person in a very big puffy jacket. So,
Mm-hmm.
But
Who knows?
who is to know?
who's
Who
to know?
honestly
I don't
is
know.
to know?
ever
It's
since
kinda-
I saw the movie Sasquatch Gang,
Dude.
that's when I became a
Oh
believer.
my
Oh
word.
my gosh. Or Harry and the Hendersons? Anyone? Anyone?
I haven't seen
Yes,
it.
no?
I've heard of it.
That's kind of more of a throwback. But Sasquatch Gang, okay, side tangent. Our old leader, now new college pastor, Jared Milken, showed me and Noah and my brother and maybe some other people this movie called Sasquatch Gang that is like a Napoleon Dynamite or a Nacho Libre, and it is worth watching, but is technically a waste of time, but it's so worth watching.
It's
So
like one of those movies.
there's my shameless plug for Sasquatch Gang.
one of those movies that you won't regret watching, but also you won't miss out by not watching.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's well put.
Anyway, back to like the actual Sasquatch.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know, just the concept of people giving their lives to like look for something that they don't know that they'll find, but like just drop everything in hope of finding something. Or I mean, whenever you see the news things about someone looking for Sasquatch, or even in like the movie Sasquatch Gang, it's like, oh, this is gonna get us money. It's like that's really what people are after, you know?
Or even like same idea with Forrest Fenn. Like people didn't know if it was real or not, and yet they would drop their entire job, drop their livelihood to go and search for it. Like it's crazy.
And the Rockies is the area given and suggested for it is not a small area.
It's not
It's huge.
an entirely safe area either, as we've seen from the
It's
5
just-
deaths. It's like
Yeah.
it's
How
pretty
many
brutal.
square miles was it estimated to be in? It's like quite like a few million, at least, square miles of like.
Seems like a
I
big
think-
number.
That might be a little big.
That might be
Is
a little,
it that big?
few mil.
Mm.
Yeah.
I was thinking like a couple billion.
I still feel like that's a little small. Like maybe like a trillion.
Ah.
I think it's like a trillion.
Mm.
That might
Probably
be
yeah.
slightly too
add
big.
like
Oh.
3 more zeros.
Oh, okay.
382,894 square miles.
Boom.
Boom. Exact.
That's a lot of square miles.
Hmm.
A lot
That
of
is a
squares.
lot.
It's a lot of money.
1 square mile is a lot of area. So just that, I mean, that the unlikelihood, but also that thrill of like, I could find something. I could strike it rich, you know? Like same thing
Yeah.
with lottery in some ways, you know? And just that giving of someone's life to that is like looking for it. I totally think looking for it would have been super fun. And I think
Yeah.
is a super fun thing. But
Totally.
Like it's totally something you can go do. It's just like it's something that can be fun as like a side hobby. Like Anya was saying, like his pastors kind of do it as like a little bit of a hobby, and that's something that's totally okay. But it's just like, all right, then where does your focus, your thoughts, your desires come into? Is it really just kind of for fun, or is it starting to turn into your own little kingdom that you're trying to search out for that 2 mil?
Yeah, I was listening to a few podcasts on it, and it was like these people were talking about how the treasure was found and how they devoted like everything to it, and how it just wrecked them. Like, because
Dang.
all their hope was placed in this treasure that they were gonna find, and as soon as they found it, it was like they were gonna have everything, and they were gonna be completely satisfied with that, you know.
Yeah.
But it just
or completely satisfied.
Right.
But
Quote unquote
We're
satisfied.
doing the quotation fingers.
Right.
Well, I think that's what's so interesting too, and I'm gonna kind of piggyback off of that, Anion, is that like we put our hope into a box of when I get X, Y, or Z thing, it's gonna change every part of my life for the better, and then I'm not gonna want anything else.
Yeah.
And the reality is with something like that, searching for it and enjoying it. So awesome, so good, especially
Mhm.
being outside, but to the point where we are putting every ounce of our hope into it is when we are missing or we're missing the point. Totally
Yeah.
missing the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the point then?
What's the point?
Mm.
What treasure are we looking for?
Nice.
Sounds
Yeah.
like VBS.
How
That is like, what
cliche
is
is
the
it?
treasure?
But seriously, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, placing hope in something and finding something and having that dash. I mean, it's not like simple stuff. Like those people that have put everything to it and then it's like, well, it's found now. What do? Like we gave up our jobs to go look for it. We spent so much money looking for it. And I mean, I bet they have their fun memories or whatever, but it's like,
At the end, like that's what they had their hope in, and it was kind of taken away because it was a worldly hope. It wasn't something that's gonna stick around or last. So
Yeah.
we got to find something that is here forever to put our hope in.
yeah. I mean, I think of just the book of Ecclesiastes in the Bible of the writer, the king, having everything, you know,
Mhm.
or like everything in our eyes or our standards, all the riches, all the wealth, anyone, just whatever he wants, and just basically halfway through the book saying like, this is all meaningless and doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
And there's no reason that you should chase after any of this, blah, blah, blah. And the book resolves in a way that is centered around, like, enjoy life and do these things, but do them in thankfulness and out of worship to God, and place your hope only in things that last. But I just think of that, and it's like we place our hope in anything. It's like, oh, and what I can do with my degree, or what I can do with this or with that. And at the end of the day, it's like that stuff's not gonna stick around. That's not eternal, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, I mean, I was even thinking, I was trying to find it in Psalms in the Bible. Psalm 119 verse 72 says, "The law of your mouth is better to me than thousands of gold and silver pieces." I don't remember who it was who said it. It might have, I don't remember who the pastor was, but they I mean, it relates first of all to what we're talking about in Forrest Fenn, but also thousands of pieces of gold and silver is like what a bank protects. So like, it is worth more to put your hope into God's word, which is eternal, than to go and rob a bank. That's what this verse is saying here.
Mm-hmm.
And the reality of, and really the difficulty of putting your hope in something that's eternal is totally a daily struggle. And like, I'm looking at all these guys and at myself, and I'm just, what a difficult thing it is for us to do, but ultimately how satisfying is it to be blessed with that knowledge, a joy to know the reality of eternal things, and the reality of who Christ is, and the reality that God's word is sufficient for all of our needs. Yeah, and but that temporal things still cloud that, and that we're still fallible in putting our hope in the things that don't last.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I kind of go to, not to overload of verses, but Luke 12, where Jesus is telling a parable about how there's this really rich man who has really abundance in crops and like a really plentiful season. So he has too much than what his barns can fill. So he tears down those barns to build bigger barns to hold all of that. And he says, once he's done with that, he says, "I'll say to my soul, soul, you have been ample goods laid up for many years. Relax, eat, drink, and be merry." But after that, God comes to him and says, "Fool, this night your soul is required of you, and all the things you have prepared, whose will they be?" So it's, yeah, there is that like seeking for friends treasure, like 2 mil, it'd be fun to go do. But it's, once we have all that, like once we die, like what is that going to? It's like God can call us up at any moment, and we don't know that moment, but
fall off the Grand Canyon while looking for it.
yeah, totally. And it's like, all right, so great, you had the 2 mil, or you're looking for the 2 mil, but once you die, like, what's the point anymore?
Yeah.
And you look like you got something.
I actually don't. I was starting to look for something.
Oh, he's searching.
I could bring something up.
Searching
from
for some treasures.
Isaiah 20. So I was reading that this morning, and pretty much the situation is Israel is hanging out, and Egypt and Cush are
That Kush.
Good Kush.
No, not
Kush.
good Kush.
Bad Cush.
Bad Kush. Every time.
A
Bad.
nation,
We are
a
in the
nation at
PNW.
war with Israel.
Kush.
A nation.
Cush.
Cush. So those two nations are kind of in league with Israel at this point in time, and Assyria's coming in, and they're about to wreck.
They want that Kush.
But Cush, Cush and whatever the other place I said, Egypt, are protecting Israel. But then Assyria comes in and wipes out Cush and Egypt, and so goodness gracious. So then Israel says, "Behold, this is what has happened to those in whom we hoped and to whom we fled for help, to be delivered from the kings of Assyria. And we, how shall we escape?" And so it's just talking about how they put their hope in these two nations. And ultimately they are left decimated because what they hoped in is gone. And so I think of so many people that have put their hope in this treasure, and it's gone now, and how much that has decimated people from the people that I've heard, and how only God is our fortress, and he's the only one that can ultimately satisfy. Other things can't protect us. We can't get in this box and be held in. Yeah.
Well, but I loved even more too, like what Logan Log said about Ecclesiastes, in that like these things we aren't meant to be is it asceticism, where they where they like don't have any. Is that the wrong one? Yeah,
think
not
that's the
okay. I'm
wrong
thinking
word.
no.
Like monks.
The Epicureans were the crazy people who had too much to drink and eat all the time. The ascetics like had no. You know what? Forget that. People who think that like material wealth or worldly pleasures are all horrible and terrible bad things. Like I don't think that's what either of these passages are saying, and I think that Logan Long clarified that really well, and that like these things are bad, and that we're meant to enjoy them and see the beauty of our Creator through them. It just gets to the point of what
our hope and faith and trust is put in.
Right. What is our what are we trying to build our kingdom around, or are we letting Christ and God be the ones to build our kingdoms for us, and ultimately their kingdoms in our lives?
Yeah. Dang, dude. Amen.
Good truth.
Some good truth. Well, yeah. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. Please send in your questions via email to steepinthestoke@gmail.com. STEPINTHESTOKE@gmail.com. Please send in your questions. We'd love to hear from you. Any suggestions, anything, revelations, memoirs, epiphanies, apostrophes,
theophanies. Actually, I don't know if that exists anymore, but
yeah.
Anion, dude,
good having you
for
on.
joining
super
us.
good having you on.
Thank
we
you,
need to have
guys.
you on again.
Okay.
We're making the rounds with like all of the homies.
Yeah.
all the
There'll be many voices passing through your ears.
Cool.
I like
Pathing
pathing.
through.
Pathing through the ears.
Pathing through the
Like
ears.
a path, not a list.
Pathing.
They're fussed pathing.
Fussed.
Fussed
Fussed pathing
Fussed
through
pathing.
your ears.
Yeah, thanks guys for having me. This has been really fun to talk with
Sweet.
you guys and hang out.
Awesome. Well,
Feel like we all have places to go right now.
Stay stoked, listeners.
stay stoked.
Stay
listeners.
stoked.
Keep extracting the goods from the grinds. We will talk to you next week. Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye.